Once you've designed your course, you need to begin creating materials. And a key concept when you're creating pages and other materials is to try to reduce cognitive load. Now that means how much content can a student handle and take in at one time without getting overwhelmed or overloaded. Now remember, you are not there in person to help mitigate this, so the content itself needs to be presented in a very reasonable way, and I would say the simpler, the better. So here's some keys to help reduce cognitive load. First, have consistent lesson components. So you can see in this case, each of these lessons is structured the same way. There's an activity, the answer to the activity, another practice, and then a couple checks. Every folder is laid out similarly, so the student gets used to that format. Here's another example. Maybe in every lesson, there's a learning goals piece, and a tasks piece, and then the standards, or the content, or whatever you choose to put there. It's consistent. Now notice using bulleted lists is much easier to read than long paragraphs. Too many long paragraphs becomes overwhelming to online learners. Also consider having white space. You don't need to cram too much on one spot. Leave a little breathing room around it. It makes it a little easier for the eye to target certain spots. And the directions should be very simple and clear. Bulleted points, again, often work best. So here's an example. This page just has about 3 sentences as a quick overview to what that lesson is, and then there's a to-do list. So the student knows exactly what things need to happen, and then notice even the videos are labeled with I can statements. It's just a consistent design that helps with the cognitive load. Again, consistent design is very important. In this case, notice it's always a learning target, an overview, and a to-do list. Just pick something that works for you and stay consistent. Consider using headings. And then images can be prompts too. So maybe every time there's a to-do, you have the same image by it. So when a student sees that image, they know they need to do it. Have consistent font styles and colors. You don't need to make your pages look like the rainbow. That can be very distracting and disorienting. You want some very consistent coloring. I choose to use this kind of maroon color for my headings and then black text for my directions and content. Also consider page dividers. You can put in an image or a line to separate pieces of the page to chunk it. Images can be a great help as well, especially images with meaning. So here in the science concept over here, we have some text. Notice it's bulleted and chunked that way. But then we have images to show the different phases of the cell division. And then we have images down here, so we have different ways to see the same content. Here on this page about Itasca State Park, there's a video, there's images, there's text, there's a link to a website. There's a variety of things, but it's organized in a visually pleasing way. You could use standardized icons. Now Schoology has some built in, so the student knows when they see this puzzle piece, it's a quiz. When they see the bubbles, it's a discussion. But you can put your own on pages as well. Make sure you do balance the amount of text and video and images on your page. You don't want to have too text-heavy of pages. You can also reduce cognitive load by simplifying your content. So here you will notice this is a page, and all of it's on one page, and these are different basketball skills. So the directions would be there at the top, and then there is a video for each of the skills. And there's only like 4 right in a row. It's a very simply designed page. Consider chunking in that way. So we have dribbling here, shooting here, maybe passing next. They're all chunked. Another way to do it is to limit the number of clicks. So you notice this is a discussion, but rather than having a page with the content and videos on and then a separate discussion, the videos and content can be embedded right into the discussion. So once the student has finished viewing this, they can move right on down to the discussion without an additional click. That same concept works for assignments. So here, this is an assignment. The student has all the content right in here, included in embedded videos. This one's an ed puzzle, a to-do list, etc. And then they would actually upload their content right into this when they're finished with the assignment. Again, here's another version of a discussion where there's a couple different tutorial videos and then a discussion to follow. So if you're going to use an assignment or discussion, consider embedding the learning right into it. So in the spirit of reducing cognitive load, let me summarize in some simple terms. First, simplify. Keep it as simple as possible. One way to do that is to chunk your content into related pieces that keep the flow moving in a reasonable way. Next, use meaningful images. Images can really help to understand the content. Reduce the number of clicks. You don't want students getting lost and having to go too many places. And then above all, be consistent. Consistency helps students take out that cognitive load piece of trying to navigate the course. You want them focusing on the content, not the structure of the course.